guys, in this video we'll be talking about travel guitars and travelling guitar setups. So the first thing I wanted to do was run you through a quick checklist of all the things you might need if you want to play and record guitar whilst you're away. Number 1, travel guitar. Number 2, iPad or computer. Number 3, a recording interface. Number 4, leads, more leads, and even more leads. Number 5, any accessories you might need, like strings, plectrums, and other such guitaring paraphernalia. Number 6, headphones. As you've seen in the intro there, my setup is made up of a Focusrite Scarlett 2i4. This is a really good bit of kit. I wouldn't necessarily put it into the travelling category, but as it's what I had, I didn't really want to buy something new. There are other alternatives, and later on in this video I'll go through what the other alternatives are. This has got 2 main inputs on the front, each with their own gain settings. It's great for monitoring. You can monitor direct or you can software monitor depending on how you do things. There's an input and playback balance here, which you can sort of balance what you're listening to from your recording source back to your headphones, and so that's quite good for learning covers, because I'm in a covers band, so I'll whack iTunes on the computer, feed the tune back through this on the headphones and blend that with my guitar. An overall monitoring level there, which is great. Separate headphones here. Here's one of the other things you need to remember to bring, a little headphone jack adapter, unless of course your headphone has the 1/4 inch. On the back you've got various line outputs, but I wouldn't necessarily think you'd need those for your travelling setup. I do use this at home, and these balanced outputs go back to my studio monitors. But you might find yourself in the fortunate situation of having decent monitoring when you're travelling. But basically, I use headphones and sometimes a Bluetooth speaker. But obviously you can't do your recording with a Bluetooth speaker because of the delay and latency, but it's okay-ish for mixing, doing a rough mix on. So if I take a look at this guitar in a bit more depth, the Steinberger Spirit, it's a really excellent guitar actually. I'm quite surprised by it. In terms of travel, it does come with a case, but I tend to leave that at home and I lay it in a suitcase between clothing padding, and in a large suitcase it will fit diagonally across in there. It weighs about 7 pounds, so you need to be careful with your baggage allowances for that. We were slightly over this time, but managed to get away with it. In terms of the guitar itself, it's got a nice gloss finish. Apparently it's a 3-piece maple neck, but you'd never know that because the finish is very lush. It is a little bit on the sticky side, but I'm not going to get too emotional about that with it being a travel guitar. It's a basswood body. The fret radius is 14 inch, so it's relatively flat. Relatively fast neck. 24 frets. Decent access up at the top end here, and of course you have the lovely fold out rest on the bottom, so it does fit nicely on your leg there. It's not as comfortable as a normal guitar, I'd say, but again, I'm not going to be too critical of what is essentially a travel guitar. I think you can pick these up for around 350 quid, and for that money I would actually say I'm blown away by the quality of this thing. The pickups are good. It's got a 5-way selector, which gives you a lot of tonal variety, obviously normal volume and master tone controls. And overall, as a travel guitar, I would thoroughly recommend this. And in fact, some of the sounds I was getting from it, I don't get from any of my other guitars, so it may actually make an appearance in some of my future recordings. I wouldn't use it live. I'm quite a chubby fella and it just looks too tiny on me, but yeah, it's great piece of kit, and I'd highly recommend this. Again, there are alternatives on the market, headless guitars. They tend to have bigger bodies and some weird tuning system in the body. Nothing wrong with those, but overall I think this is just a great piece of kit. And apart from the fact that it's headless, the tuning's down here, and you need special double ball strings for it, which you can buy online. Apart from those minor inconveniences, I think it's a great guitar. So I've been using my Mac mainly for playing, practicing and recording whilst away, but there are other options which you can use. You can use an iPad, you can use a phone, and obviously in terms of baggage allowances and weight allowances and things like that, they do offer some seriously good alternatives if it's just practice you're looking for. The reason I bought my Mac and the Focusrite is that I wanted to do a little bit of recording whilst I was out here. Now, whilst that recording may not be the best, it is a good template that I can then overdub when I get home with better parts, using better gear and all the rest of it. So in terms of software, what I'm using is Logic Pro X and Helix Native. Both performed excellently. The only thing I would say about that setup is you need a hell of a lot of processing power to create the number of tracks you need. And as I was basically using my guitar as a bass and using the pitch, simple pitch function on the Helix Native to lower it down an octave, it was with two guitar tracks, a guitar solo track and a bass track, and whilst it's trying to process the drummer track and all the rest of it, it did start creaking a little. And it is a MacBook Pro and it's a decent spec, so that's the only thing I'd warn of in terms of this setup, is don't expect to have elaborate tracks with lots and lots of different things on them, because it'll soon give up the ghost. If you're using an iPad or a phone, GarageBand is a good option. You could use an Apogee Jam interface, or there's some good iRig interfaces you can use. Go straight into GarageBand, and I think there's an array of sort of amp sims and things like that in GarageBand which you can use. And yeah, just as good, just as, you know, okay, it may not have the full functionality of Logic and the Mac and Helix Native and all the rest of it, but if you're just doing recording sketches and things like that, it is a really viable alternative. And I think you can even load GarageBand songs into Logic now, and so that may be something I look at in the future to cut down on the weight and the bulk of my rig. The final thing I'd say is do a checklist of everything you need. There are at least 3 different lead types I've got here: USB connectors, guitar leads, and headphone leads. Plectrums, obviously it's very easy to forget plectrums. I've got a little thing on my key ring that you've probably seen these things. It's really useful because then you know you've always got plectrums on you. Spare strings, do not forget to take spare strings. I actually broke a string on this guitar while I was out here, and it's only thanks to GAK in Brighton that I managed to get a set delivered by the Wednesday. So I arrived on the Monday and I got the strings delivered by the Wednesday to the Balearic Islands, which is fantastic and didn't cost that much money, in fact. So take spare strings. All applicable links to the kit featured in this video can be found below. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you next time with a review of Iron Maiden live at the O2. Cheers, Matt.